What's up to all my people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 125 and season 4, episode 23 of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 125th time. Can you believe it? I can't. And I'd like to welcome all of my fellow lowlife, scumbags, hoodlums, shady characters, anybody named Phil Mickelson, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics, cheats, friends and family of the gooch, fienders with abusive language, and of course degenerates. I mean, let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, you probably fit into one or a few of those categories, so welcome, because you're one of us. One of us. Gooba gobba, one of us. We accepted one of us. Sorry. Sometimes I get carried away, you know. Hey, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. And to spread the word, that's also very easy. Just tell other degenerates and scumbags you know to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That's going to take you right to my page, so that way you can get dialed into everything that I give you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners. I give you my picks to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. The books don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners because it's all I do. I'm an outlier and a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. Step into the party, disrupt the whole scene. It's what I do. Now, I go to the mattresses and get all the info for you every single week. This is the real deal, and there ain't no practice. We ain't talking about the game. We talking about practice, man. No, not the game. We talking about practice. Still one of the greatest press conferences ever, along with Bob Knight's game face discussion, Jim Mora's playoffs, and Herm Edwards, we play to win the game. Those are the classics. But still, we talking about practice, man. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I got a few thoughts. Bill Belichick's not going to be coaching in the NFL next season. Let's face it. With all the hirings in the league the last week, nobody seems to want Belichick, even though he met with Atlanta twice, only to see the Falcons hire Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris to take over in Hot Town. Why doesn't anybody want this guy? Well, this guy is going to tell you why. Belichick has been absolutely tone deaf for years when it comes to evaluating talent and selecting draft picks. In every NFL draft, an NFL team thinks they did well if they get 3 to 4 starters with 2 Pro Bowlers or all pros. In the past 9 years, Belichick has drafted 1 Pro Bowler. And that's getting 7 to 8 draft picks a year. 1 Pro Bowler. And that was Mac Jones, who got benched last year by Belichick. He has no concept of offense whatsoever. And let's face it, he's been a dick to the press for 20 years. He's rude, he's sullen, he's moody. While everyone from PTI to Colin Cowherd to Scott Farrell to Pat McAfee and the old cranky skeleton named Skip Bayless were all busy knobbing Belichick 2 weeks ago and calling him the GOAT. Bill Walsh is the GOAT. When he mutually decided to part ways with New England, mutually decided. Now they all don't understand why he hasn't been hired. Will he get a job as an analyst on TV? Sure, probably. Will he be good? Sure, probably. But I don't believe he'll get another shot to coach again. It's all about power. He wants power, but he doesn't have it now. Jim Harbaugh got hired by the Chargers a couple days ago. He takes over a team that was a train wreck at 5-11 and led the league in close game losses. He's got a quarterback in Justin Herbert that is a stud and just entering his prime, and he's got weapons at lots of other positions too. Can Harbaugh overtake the Raiders and Broncos to be the team that stops Kansas City from dominating the AFC West for the next 5 years like they have the last 5 or 10? That's pretty much a lock as far as the Raiders and Broncos go. But the Chiefs, yeah, I don't know. Not quite yet. It's going to take 2 to 3 years, I'm guessing. But if you look and see what Sean Payton did in Denver last year, taking a 5-12 team to 9-8, and that was with a disastrous relationship with his quarterback, who's now on the block, by the way. Harbaugh won't have those issues with Herbert because Harbaugh will have Herbert under center as opposed to lining up in the shotgun, meaning a power run game is obviously coming, and with the number 5 pick in the NFL draft, the Chargers don't need a left tackle. They don't need a quarterback. They don't need an edge rusher. A tight end and a wideout would be nice. Marvin Harrison, maybe at number 5. But expect Harbaugh to address the run game. It may not be in the first round, but it will happen in April. Believe that. Whether it's a back or a guard, either way. Rumor has it Luka scored 73 points tonight. 73. I don't even watch the NBA. I don't follow it, but it's on my scroll here. 73. Damn. It's the most points since Kobe went for 81, 20 years ago. Craziness. Happy 63rd birthday to Wayne Gretzky today. When your nickname is the Great One, that pretty much says it all. Forget about all the accolades, which included leading the league in scoring 9 times, winning 10 Hart trophies as the league MVP, 3 Conn Smythe trophies as the playoff MVP, and 4 Stanley Cup titles in Edmonton. Forget all that. Imagine this. Wipe away all 892 goals he scored in NHL history, and he's still the all-time leader in points. Wow. Just freaking wow. Happy birthday, Wayne. As for the week that was last week, I wound up 3-4-1 in the NFL playoffs by going 0-3-1 on Saturday, but bounced back with a 3-1 on Sunday, and that was nice. College hoops was very interesting as I had a few days to start the week that were 500, and I was starting to get frustrated. But I picked it up over the weekend and closed the week strong to finish 45 wins, 32 losses, 5 pushes. Yes, I had 5 pushes last week alone in college hoops when I had 6 all season in college football. Crazy how accurate the odds makers are this time of year. Anyway, here are the numbers. Last week, 55 wins, 41 losses, 6 pushes. Good for 57.29%. Yeah, I pushed on 6 games, but still had a good week. And that's even with the 3-4-1 in the NFL. NFL playoffs, I'm now 10-9-1. That's 52.63%. With only 3 games left this season, it's time to close strong because the NFL postseason numbers don't look good as opposed to the regular season. NCAA hoops, 410 wins, 307 losses, 9 pushes, 57.18%. Numbers are nice, but 58 is still where I want to be come March. So overall, every pick that I've given you in all 22 of the podcasts that I've dropped this season, 915 wins, 660 losses, 20 pushes, 58.09%. The goal's still 59. I mean, just remember that all these picks are 100% free. So for all those touts out there that are giving you 75 and 80% winners, come on. First of all, we all know you're full of shit. And you're charging for these picks. With me, just come to YouTube every week and I'll drop my plays on you for free. You can also follow me on X at Stony Woods. The last few days in college hoops, I've been giving you picks in the comment section of Stoniecast 124. And after a solid 6-2 Thursday last night, I'm now 21-13-1 after 3 days and gave you the picks for today on there as well. And those games are being played right now and things aren't off to a good start. But college hoops weeks are made, though, on Saturday. And from here through March, college hoops will own Saturdays. So let's see what's in store for tomorrow. Let's start it all off. Noon Eastern on ESPN2 in Gainesville, where Florida's a 7.5-point home chalk over Georgia. The Gators have been hot, but this is too many points, so I'll take the Dogs here, catching 7.5. Noon Eastern on ESPN in H-Town, we get a good Big 12 matchup, which seems to be the norm since the Big 12 is the deepest conference in the nation. Fourth-ranked Houston is a 14.5-point home favorite over Kansas State. Houston is a legit choice to at least reach the Final Four, but K-State is playing well right now. And just like the first game, this is too many points, so I'll take the Wildcats and the 14.5, even though they're on the road. Road dogs. Noon Eastern on the Big 12 Network in College Park. Maryland is a short 3.5-point home favorite over Nebraska, and I like the Terps here at home to slow down the surprisingly good Huskers. Maryland minus 3.5. 12:30 p.m. on Big Fox in the Big East. Providence is a 12.5-point home favorite over Georgetown. The Hoyas have been a bit better, but they don't have the cohesiveness that Providence clearly has. So I'm going to roll with the Friars at home and lay the 12.5. 1 Eastern on FS1 in Milwaukee, 14th ranked Marquette is a 9.5-point home favorite versus Seton Hall. Marquette's loaded, but I really like Seton Hall here with all those points. So give me the Pirates plus the 9.5. Road dog. 1:30 Eastern in Ames on CBS. The Big 12 continues their big matchups with number 23 Iowa State, 3.5-point home favorite over 7th-ranked Kansas. Iowa State has not lost in Ames this season for good reason. They're freaking stacked. But KU has long been the class of the Big 12. And even with the stacked conference, including Houston now this year, they're still the team to beat. So I'll gladly take Kansas catching points against anyone. Rock chalk plus 3.5. Staying in the Big 12 at 2 Eastern on ESPN2 in Provo. 21st ranked BYU is a 7-point home favorite over Texas. BYU's dropped 2 straight while Texas has won 2 straight. Yet BYU is still big chalk at home. I like BYU, but not in this spot. Hook 'em horns plus 7.5. Let's go to the ACC at 2 Eastern on ESPN in Tallahassee, where number 3 North Carolina comes in as 7.5-point road chalk over Florida State. Carolina is improving daily and are starting to steamroll teams, but most of those are at home. Now on the road, I'll gladly take the points at home with Florida State catching 7.5. Back to the Big 12 at 2 Eastern, where 2 more ranked teams meet up in Norman this time, with 10th-ranked Oklahoma listed as 3.5-point home favorites over number 20 Texas Tech. These are 2 excellent teams that only have 7 losses combined, and as good as Tech has played this season, I still like OU at home. Give me the Sooners for minus 3.5. 2:15 Eastern on the CW in the ACC, Miami, Florida is a 5-point home favorite over Pittsburgh. The Canes had dropped 3 out of 4 before righting the ship on Wednesday with a win over Notre Dame. But Pitt is always a spoiler in the ACC, so I like the Panthers here plus the 5 on the road. Road dog. 3 Eastern in the Big East on FS1 in Indianapolis. Villanova and Butler are a pick'em. Nova's dropped 4 out of 5 and now has to go to Hinkle Fieldhouse? Nope. Give me Butler here at home. 3 p.m. Eastern on Big Fox in Champaign. 10th ranked Illinois is a big 13.5-point home chalk versus Indiana in an old school Big Ten rivalry. The Illini are loaded and coming off a loss the other day to Northwestern. They won't lose this one, but even though Indiana's dropped 3 out of 4, I still like the Hoosiers here with all those points on the road. 3:30 Eastern on SEC Network in Starkville. 8th-ranked Auburn comes in as 2.5-point road favorites at Mississippi State. Auburn's dropped a tough one to Alabama just on Wednesday, while MSU's lost 3 out of their last 4. I like the Tigers here on the road to take out the Bulldogs. Pure and simple. 15th-ranked Baylor and TCU hook up in Waco at 4 Eastern on ESPN in the Big 12. With Baylor as a 5.5-point home favorite. Another good matchup. Just everywhere you look, the Big 12. Man, I'm on the Bears here at home, laying the number over a good TCU team. Let's move on to the Mountain West Conference at 4 Eastern, where Boise State's a 3.5-point home favorite over 18th ranked Utah State. Boise's dangerous and close to being ranked, but Utah State is on a collision course with Colorado State as the class of the Mountain West. So I'm going to take the Aggies on the road here, catching 3.5. 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN in Durham. Number 12 Duke is 7.5-point home favorites versus Clemson. Clemson's lost 3 out of 4 while the Dukies seem to be rounding into form. Give me the Devils and lay the hammer. 4 Eastern in Laramie. Sorry, you're just watching Cal Stanford here. 4 Eastern in Laramie. 24th ranked Colorado State comes to town as 8-point road favorites at Wyoming. Colorado State's playing well, has their eyes on the Mountain West title while Wyoming has struggled, hence the 8-point number. But home dogs in conference catching that many points always makes me want the dog. Give me the Cowboys plus the 8.5. 8, sorry. 5 Eastern in Pullman on Pac-12 Network. We get a good one here as Colorado is a 1-point road favorite at Washington State. Both teams are playing well right now, and as much as I would normally side with the home dog here, Colorado's feeling it right now. So I'm going to dance with the Buffaloes minus a point. Staying in the Pac-12 at 5:30 Eastern on Big Fox in Eugene. Number 9 Arizona enters as a 3.5-point road favorite at Oregon. Oregon wants to prove they belong near the top of the conference, but after a bad loss last night in Corvallis, which I won, by the way, I look for Arizona to bounce back strong here. Cats minus 3.5. 6 Eastern on ESPN in Fayetteville. 6th-ranked Kentucky is a 7-point road favorite at Arkansas. UK is in a free-for-all with Tennessee right now for SEC supremacy. And they're playing really well. And Auburn. And UK is playing really well right now. That's the bottom line. Arkansas is falling off a cliff almost. Give me the Cats, lay the 7 on the road. Speaking of Tennessee, at 6 Eastern on SEC Network, right here in Music City, USA. 5th-ranked Tennessee is a 16-point road favorite at Vanderbilt. UT's clearly the better team, and Vandy is such a mess that Jerry Stackhouse could soon be looking for a new job. But any way you look at it, this is still way too many points. So I'll take the Commodores with all those points. 7 Eastern on ACC Network, Syracuse is a 2-point home favorite against North Carolina State in a battle of 2 teams that always seem to stub their toes just when things are going well. I got to roll with NC State here on the road, plus the 2, and on the money line also to win straight up. 8 Eastern on ESPN in Tuscaloosa, Alabama's a 12-point home favorite over LSU. LSU? Bama's feeling themselves right now after knocking off Auburn a couple days ago, while LSU's just simply not good. I'm not taking LSU. Give me the Tide, lay the lumber. 8 Eastern on ESPN2 in La La Land. USC's a 3.5-point home favorite over UCLA in a battle of 2 teams from La La Land that are playing like they're in La La Land. And they have drastically underachieved this season, both of them. Normally, I'd be all over my Bruins here, but not the way they're playing. Give me the Trojans. 8:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network in Evanston. Northwestern's a 2.5-point home favorite over Ohio State. Northwestern's riding high after knocking off Illinois 2 days ago and one of the many winners this week that I've been dropping in your lap, while Ohio State's been flailing and dropping 4 out of 5. Stock is high on Northwestern. Sell high. Give me the Buckeyes and the points. 10 Eastern on ESPNU in Moraga. St. Mary's is a 14.5-point home favorite versus Loyola Marymount. Mismatch Central. St. Mary's won by 50 2 days ago, and Loyola's a disaster. Give me the Gales to keep rolling and lay the big number. The Degenerate Special this week is at 10 Eastern on ESPN2 in Seattle as Utah is a 1-point road favorite at Washington. The Huskies are tough at home, but the Utes are playing well right now, so give me the Utes to close out the night with a W. Now, I don't know if 27 plays for tomorrow are enough for too many, but when you plan on hitting at least 16 of them, things look pretty damn good. Now the college hoops have been dealt with, let's move on to the league. It's National NFL Championship week. I was going to say National Championship. NFL Championship weekend. And it all starts in the AFC at 3 Eastern on CBS in Baltimore. Shout out Georgiana. Where the Ravens are a 3.5-point home favorite over the Chiefs. And the total listed at 44.5 at M&T Bank Stadium. Baltimore is the AFC's top seed. They've got the presumptive MVP in Lamar Jackson under center. After a first half in which they were tied at 10 with the Texans last week, the Ravens outscored Houston 21-0 in the second half to win going away. The pass rush is fierce, and they have one of the best linebacking core in the league. Kansas City had what is considered an off season this year, but they put together their best performance of the year last week in their win at Buffalo. The Chiefs' recent history is the stuff of legend, and despite most of the country actively rooting against them, the Chiefs just keep on winning in January. With off seasons from Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift's boyfriend, the Chiefs have been led by their defense and a rejuvenated rushing attack led by Isaiah Pacheco. I'm a big fan of PTI. Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon, I watch them every day. Can't stand Tony Kornheiser. I literally disagree with him on every single thing that comes out of his mouth. And usually I like Mike Wilbon. But he can't even say Taylor Swift's name. He says Travis Kelce's girlfriend. What's her name? He says, what's her name? Really, Mike? What's her name? You know exactly what her name is. If anything, he is Taylor Swift's boyfriend, not the other way around. Just get that right. He should be, what's his name? That tight end from Kansas City. The knock on Lamar, rant over. The knock on Lamar Jackson is that he's never made a deep run in the playoffs, and he's flamed out. Where Mahomes is becoming Tom Brady 2.0. The Chiefs are the defending champs, and the Ravens hope to close out a great season in style by knocking off the reigning champs. Excuse me. I needed that. Baltimore seems like a team that's possessed, and a win on Sunday will make them the favorites in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Injuries are a big factor as usual this time of year, and this game's no different. Mark Andrews is back for Baltimore, but they have offensive line issues, as does Kansas City, to go along with Isaiah Pacheco. While the talking heads in the media will all be praising the Mahomes versus Jackson matchup, the Ravens have a huge edge in future Hall of Fame place kicker Justin Tucker. After all is said and done, Tucker wins it with a field goal, making that hook, or the 4 that some books are dropping, making that number very attractive for Chief bettors. Give me the Chiefs. Gotta take the Chiefs. Cannot give Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid points. Just can't do it. I'll take the Chefs, and I'll take under 44.5 when all 4 divisional games last week went over. Ravens win at 23-20, but don't be afraid to sprinkle a little something on the Chiefs' money line for a nice payout at plus $170. Yeah, plus 170 would be nice. From the East Coast to the West Coast, the NFC Championship goes at 6:30 Eastern at Santa Clara's Levi's Stadium, right on Big Fox, where the 49ers are 7-point home favorites over the Lions, and the total's 51.5. The 49ers have been in Super Bowl or bust mode for the 3rd straight year as they appear in the NFC title game for the 3rd time in as many years. The roster's just stacked, but an uneven performance in last week's win over Green Bay raised a lot of questions. Sure, they were outplayed for 3 quarters, but with the game on the line, San Fran delivered in the clutch on both sides of the ball, shutting out Green Bay in the 4th quarter, and much maligned, downright disrespected quarterback Brock Purdy delivered a game-winning drive where he was flawless. It's hard to even imagine Detroit playing in a game with the Super Bowl on the line, considering they've been such an awful franchise for 70 years, but they've earned this. Dan Campbell, who was criticized after his opening press conference with the biting of the kneecaps and all, he's built a culture in Detroit with one of the best offensive lines in the league is where it starts. A solid two-headed rushing attack, a first-team All-Pro wideout in Amon-Ra St. Brown, and another disrespected quarterback in Jared Goff. Detroit beat up the Rams in the first half 2 weeks ago in the wild card game before holding on for dear life to get the win, and they dominated the Bucs offensively in last week's divisional playoff. If the great Lions O-line allows Goff time to throw, which comes after their success running the ball, the Lions can win this game, especially if the 49ers play like they did last week. Injuries are an issue here for both sides, with Sam Laporta for Detroit and Deebo Samuel of SF being the two biggest names. We all saw the Ravens blow the doors off the Niners on Christmas and saw the Niners struggle with Green Bay last week. But here's some trends. Dome teams are 5-15 in the last 20 playoff games outdoors. Jared Goff is 0-6 in his last 6 versus the 49ers. In their last 12 games, the Lions have played one game outdoors, and that was a loss to the Bears on December 11th, the Bears. The Lions' defense has been torched, absolutely torched the last 2 weeks by wide receivers and tight ends, and not exactly top-tier offenses have been lighting up the Lions' defense. Well, Detroit, say hello to Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. Oh, there's another guy. I think his name's Christian McCaffrey. Even with only half of Deebo, SF wins this one fairly easy, 34-20. That means give me the Niners and the over. So that's it for what should be an interesting weekend. Both NFL sides with totals and a shit ton of college hoops to deal with tomorrow. 27 plays, 31 total. As a reminder, check back in every day in the comments section of this video for college hoops picks starting Sunday and rolling all the way up into Stoniecast 126 next Friday night around this time also. With no football next week, Stoniecast 126 will be college hoops only. And get used to it because it's going to be like that through March. So there's still a lot of tickets out there that are just waiting to get cashed, right? So until then, just remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. Now for me, the action is the juice. There's money on the streets, it can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Miss you, Gooch, my brother.